God bless you and welcome to another installment of Nuggets of Truth, sponsored by Christian Missionary Church. My name is Justin Roa and I have been given the opportunity to speak today from our pastors, Reverend Jorge Luis Roa and Reverend Dr. Luz D. Roa. Last week, Jasmine had the opportunity to speak with us about spiritual transformation, and this week, I have the opportunity to speak to you about wisdom. So the nugget of truth for today is wisdom. And now, wisdom is something that's often discussed as the positive thing to have in the church. We talk about it a lot, but not too often do we delve into what it is and how we gain it. And to be clear, wisdom is not something that anyone is born with. It is something that is gained. So what is wisdom? From what I found, wisdom is the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment, or the soundness of an action or decision with regard to the application of experience, knowledge, and good judgment. So it's a combination of these things: experience, knowledge, and good judgment. And there are many different ways to gain wisdom. A lot of people gain wisdom from life experience. They learn from their failures, they learn from their experiences. But to do that, they have to have a certain attitude. But let me go into that later on. Let me first give you some of the ground rules on wisdom. There are two things I want to let you know about wisdom first, and then I'll give you an idea of why wisdom is important, and then I will explain to you 6 steps or 6 things you need to know about wisdom to gain wisdom or increase in wisdom. So wisdom is something that is readily available to those who truly want it. Wisdom is not something that hides itself. It's not something that is hard to find. If you go to Proverbs chapter 1, verses 20 through 22, it reads, "Wisdom calls aloud outside. She raises her voice in the open squares. She cries out in the chief concourses. At the openings of the gates in the city, she speaks her words. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? For scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge." So here we can see that wisdom is being illustrated as if it's a person, a woman who's calling out to people, trying to catch their attention. And here it seems like she's having a difficult time getting people's attention, because many people would rather be fools than gain wisdom, unfortunately. What else can we see about wisdom? It is something that God used to create everything. And now when I read this next verse, I was kind of surprised. Proverbs chapter 3 verses 19 and 20 reads, "The Lord by wisdom founded the earth. By understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths were broken up, and clouds dropped down the dew." And to me, that's just amazing. That's explosive, because this is really emphasizing the importance of wisdom. Really showing you that God used it, God needed to use it to make everything that now exists. God could not have made all this if he had lacked in wisdom. But because God is abounding in wisdom and is so much wise than any one of us could ever hope to be, he was able to make the entire universe. So why is wisdom important, aside from the reason I just said? Wisdom will keep you from evil. True wisdom leads to righteousness. Again, the book of Proverbs, all the verses I'm going to use today are from the book of Proverbs, the wisdom book itself. Proverbs chapter 2 verses 10 through 12 says, "When wisdom enters your heart and knowledge is pleasant to your soul, discretion will preserve you, understanding will keep you, to deliver you from the way of evil." So when we have wisdom, it will keep us from doing things that we should not be doing. Wisdom will keep us away from sin because we will know better than to sin. So wisdom allows us to be righteous. Now, a lot of people, when they think about wisdom, they don't really connect it with righteousness. They don't really connect it with keeping away from sin. But wisdom is vital to be a righteous person, to live righteously. Now, how do you gain wisdom, or how do you increase in wisdom? There are 6 steps that I have here. And the first one I'm going to say is the most important one. I'm starting with the most important one because it's the foundation. Now, the first step is to know and fear God. Proverbs chapter 9 verse 10 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." Again, the beginning of wisdom. "And the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." And then, what does it mean to fear the Lord? True fear of the Lord. Proverbs 8:13 says, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil. Pride and arrogance and the evil way and the perverse mouth, I hate. So it's saying a lot right there. But to gain wisdom, we need to know God. We need to respect God. When you know and understand and respect the power and sovereignty of God, you will understand how detestable and horrible sin truly is. Because God truly hates and detests sin. So if we are being wise and are in connection with the one who gives all wisdom, who made all things, we will be wiser. And we will understand who he is, how he works, what he likes, what he dislikes. If we are wise and have our wisdom gained from God, we will stray away from the things that God himself hates. To understand God is to have the foundation of wisdom, because again, it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So really, there are many people who are considered wise, but they don't know Christ. They don't know God. They are not saved. What good is their wisdom if it'll still lead their soul to be lost? Even someone who does not have much wisdom, if they have the Lord, if they know the Lord, if they follow the Lord, they are much wiser than anyone who does not have the Lord. So the first step is to know and fear God. The second, and this is also, they're all very important, but the second step is to have a teachable spirit. Because before I mentioned that some people, they gain wisdom through life experience, and that's true. But then we see some people who are very old, but they keep on making the same mistakes, and they have not learned from those mistakes. And that is because, despite their age, they still did not develop a teachable spirit. They did not allow themselves to be taught. They continue to maintain their ways and not being flexible, not moving from them, not seeing the flaws in how they do things. And that's something that we have to see. That's something that we have to know. We have to be teachable. We have to be open to being corrected. Proverbs chapter 9 verse 8 says, do not correct a scoffer, lest he hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. So a wise person, they accept criticism. They accept correction. They will not feel threatened by it. A wise person knows that they don't know everything. A wise person knows that they still have room to grow. And every single person on this earth has room to grow. No one knows everything. Everyone can still learn something and increase in knowledge in some way. A wise person understands that they have room for growth. They desire to gain more knowledge and understanding of things. And as a result of that disposition, they will not reject correction. Because a person who is wise wants to understand. So that's step 2, have a teachable spirit. Step 3 is to consider those around you. No man is an island. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 29 says, do not devise evil against your neighbor, for he dwells by you for safety's sake. So this verse is saying that you have to consider your neighbor, those who are around you. And as people who are trying to spread the gospel, and as those who are called to love our neighbors as well as our enemies, we should be considerate of those around us. When we think about different courses of action for any given situation, we have to think about how it may affect those around us. It's not just about us, it's about other people as well. Sometimes we may make a decision, and that decision ends up having a negative effect on someone else. And we really have to be considerate, and that leads right into the fourth one. The fourth step is to consider the consequences or results of the things that you do or that you intend to do. And I feel like this is a very integral and very important part. It's all important, but this one especially, because there are many people who just do things on the fly. They like to wing it, or they procrastinate. They don't think ahead. And a person who is wise, they're not like that. They think ahead. They consider the results or the consequences of their actions or actions that they may want to take. You have to be someone who thinks about things. You can't just keep doing things last minute, because then you'll keep on getting in trouble. You'll keep on finding yourself in situations that you didn't think of, and that you may have a difficult time getting out of. Proverbs 4:26 says, ponder the path of your feet, and let all your ways be established. Think about your next move. Plan ahead and think about where your decisions can lead you. A wise person plans ahead to get the best results. And sometimes we as Christians, we over spiritualize certain things. We end up not planning, and then we say, I'm just going to pray to God. God's going to be faithful, and He's just going to get me through this. It's good that you have faith that God's going to get you through this, but you shouldn't let that kind of attitude stop you from really thinking. Use your head. God gave you a brain for a reason. So for the fourth step is to consider the consequences or result of the things you intend to do. The fifth step, and it's similar to a point that I made before about having a teachable spirit. The fifth step is to listen to the instruction of your teachers. Because before it was just about having a certain disposition, and now it's about using that disposition in regards to people around you that God has placed to teach you. Listen to the instruction of your teachers. Proverbs chapter 5, verses 12 and 13, it illustrates someone who was not listening to their teachers. It says, "And say, how I have hated instruction, and my heart despised correction. I have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to those who instructed me." Now, this one is very important because a lot of people around my age, I know, something that I've noticed that a lot of us, we don't tend to listen to our elders in the church, people who have more life experience than us, people who have known God for a longer time than us. A lot of times the people we go to when we're in trouble are those who are our friends, really, or who have less life experience than us, or who do not have more biblical knowledge than us, or who really just don't have the qualifications or the equipment to be able to feed us and teach us. And a lot of times God places teachers in our lives, whether it be our parents, whether it be our pastors or our leaders in the church, whoever it may be, the elders in the church as well. They are there. They are a resource that God has placed for us to use and to learn from. Too many of us are too certain of our own knowledge, and we don't use the knowledge of those who are around us, who are willing to teach us. So don't just seek advice from your friends. Seek counsel from those who are older and have more life experience. That's step 5. Listen to the instruction of your teachers. And the last step that I have here is to listen and obey more than you speak. Because a lot of times we have a lot to say. We have a lot of opinions sometimes. But us in our limited understanding, we may continue to speak and act as if we know what to do when really we're kind of clueless. And for some reason, instead of looking to someone who can give us the answers that we need or help us, we tend to just keep on letting ourselves speak. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 8 says, "The wise in heart will receive commands, but a prating fool will fall." So the wise in heart will receive commands. They'll actually be able to receive orders, receive instructions from people. Someone who is wise is not above being a servant. Someone who is wise is not above being told what to do. So a lot about wisdom implies humility. Proverbs 10 verse 19 also says, "In the multitude of words, sin is not lacking, but he who restrains his lips is wise." This one is, I think a lot of us can relate to this. Sometimes we have said things we don't mean. We just let our mouths just keep moving, and we end up saying something that is hurtful or saying something that is very foolish. It is very easy to sin if we continue to speak without thinking or without consideration. So a lot of times we need to be quiet more and have our ears open. Sometimes we speak so much without thinking at all. And we learn a lot by being in a position where someone is over us. They'll be able to teach us with their words and their actions while also asking things of us. Taking commands teaches us how to listen and how not everything has to be done in the way we want. When we learn to do things in the way other people do them, we gain more perspectives. We learn more ways of how to do things. We learn more than just one solution. Because we may have a solution that can work, but someone else may have another solution that may be better than ours. So much about wisdom just entails humility and knowing that we are limited in our knowledge and knowing that we have to gain more knowledge. I guess that can be the seventh step, humility. To be wise, we need to be humble. Because if you have a humble disposition, you will receive correction, you will receive knowledge, you will receive the wisdom of God. And again, wisdom is not something you just have. It's something that is gained. It's something that you seek out. So to go over the steps again, number 1 is to know and fear God. Number 2 is to have a teachable spirit. Number 3 is to consider those around you. Number 4 is to consider the consequences or results of the things you intend to do. Number 5 is to listen to the instruction of your teachers. And number 6 is to listen and obey more than you speak. And then number 7 is humility. So this is all that I have to say on wisdom. I actually had a lot more information, but I really had to cut it short because I had too much information. Let wisdom be something that you seek out. Don't think that it can just be something that comes to you. Seek it out. Seek it out in the word. Seek it out in prayer. Seek it out from your pastors and your elders and your parents and your teachers. Wisdom is readily available. Like I said, wisdom is not something that hides itself from us. We can find it easily if we just look for it. So, God bless you. Once again, my name is Justin Roa, and this has been the Nugget of Truth.